Auzu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, and dear friends, I warmly welcome you all to the second edition of Interfaith Harmony Conclave 2025, organized by Blossom Media Private Limited and ably supported by the iconic, the heritage structure, over 135 years old, historically significant Islam Gymkhana. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an august gathering where we will be discussing, promoting about religious tolerance and celebrating the pluralism in the diverse society like India. This conclave is a sincere attempt to unite hearts and respect differences. Let me tell you that this Interfaith Harmony Week is a support program to United Nations World Interfaith Harmony Week, which was suggested and introduced by His Majesty King Abdullah II of Kingdom of Jordan, and it was accepted by the United Nations in the year 2010. And as a result of this, first week of February is celebrated as World Interfaith Harmony Week globally. To convey the importance of this conclave, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you all to answer a very simple question of mine. Do I have your permission? Do I have your permission? So, most of us must have seen a person riding, speeding up on his bike, and his side stand is down. Most of us might have seen this, right? So what was your first reaction? I am sure we all must have tried to alert him, to make him aware of the upcoming danger, either by waving, signaling, shouting, or at times even riding up to him to inform him about the grave situation which he may face. Here comes the interesting part. Do we know that person? Most of the time, we don't know that person. We don't know his name. We don't know his religion. We don't know his caste. Our only concern is his safety. Now, what we will call to this phenomena? Purely human instinct, isn't it? Isn't it? It's a purely human instinct based on which we are acting. So this Humanity Conclave is all about promoting and discussing that human instinct. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be true to our religious beliefs, are required to act humanly. And through this conclave, we will be promoting and discussing peace and harmonious coexistence, because we all believe that harmonious coexistence is very necessary for a city, for a country, and this world to be a better place. And what better way than to bring this up, to foster this through a dialogue of understanding amongst the scholars, that is interfaith dialogue. So let us listen to the dignitaries, the speakers representing various religions, that is the four biggest religions of this world, namely Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, and Christianity, with open hearts and minds. And they will be talking about religious tolerance and pluralism in the diverse society like India. A person who is very active, rigorously working in the field of education and communal harmony, the very talented and multitasker, the moderator of this panel discussion of today's, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Saeed Khan. A huge round of applause for Mr. Saeed Khan. And Saeed Bhai, now it's up to you to take the ship forward. Thank you so much.
Welcome everybody. As we all know that on which topic we are together here. And it's very sensitive too to talk about. My nation especially and the entire world need this discussion. As we all know that United Nations is observing this week as a World Interfaith Harmony Week. King Abdullah of Jordan on 23rd September 2010 proposed this, and United Nations accepted this on 28th October same year. From that year till today, this week has been celebrated as the World Interfaith Harmony Week. So we are here to celebrate that week. Today we have a discussion purely purely and fearlessly about tolerance and pluralism. These two things which entire human society needs for peaceful coexistence. For that, we have an eminent scholar. The audience sitting in front of me is so august that I'm a little bit feared today. The advocates are there, the doctors are there, the religious scholars are there. When I told Ubaid Bhai and Zia that how can I can hold such a dialogue with such a senior religious scholars, that they told me a very simple thing. Be a student and ask. Don't be a scholar to ask. Be a student and ask the scholars. This is the best way to learn. So I decided to be a student today to the scholars of this debate. So I first of all call the guy named Sufyan Ahmed Vanu. He's an Islamic scholar. He's a mufti, you know. He has an authority, he has a degree to deliver the fatwas, the judgments almost. He is a Hafiz Quran from Makkah, the most holiest place for Muslim in the world. Coincidentally, such a religious guy, he's also a politician too. And he's a very good politician, and he served as a politician, being a municipal councillor, he served the community and the humanity. The touch was that. So, Vanu Sahab, welcome everybody. Welcome to you. One guy is always on the stage when the lakhs and lakhs of people are there and giving his discourse of peace and harmony. Yes, Baba Satyanam Das Ji. The entire Mumbai know him as Babaji, and he's a Babaji, but he is an English literature degree. He has English literature degree. And especially he has almost done more than thousands gatherings, and he enlightened the people in that gatherings. And especially one of the most biggest religious NGO, I should say, Jamiatul Ulama, calls lakhs and lakhs people's gathering. The Babaji is on the stage and delivering the message of harmony and peace. And third, Dr. Rahul Bharatnath Bodhi he is a Buddhist scholar, and they have given me the detail of him, but this is enough that he is the scholar, and he is attached to many Buddhist institutes, Bodh Gaya, Spiritual Communal Harmony, the ACT, the Buddhist too. He is the leaders of all this, and he is doing the best services for the communal harmony, especially interfaith communal harmony. And the last, the Cardinal Oswald Graces was supposed to come, but we say, "Yeh hai Mumbai meri jaan." All of a sudden, he has a schedule and he is unable to join us. So today we have his secretary, Father Emmanuel Katie. And the father is here. Father is the priest for 22 years. He's quite young still. It doesn't look like that he has joined the priesthood somewhere around 14 years. Look, he's so young and so dynamic. And he's a judge also in the Metropolitan Tribunal, which he deals all the Catholic issues. So we start. What is up? Sit in the center. Sit in the center. Yes. We will be little open, and we will not, myself, I don't believe in cosmetic approach. So first of all, we will talk very freely. And definitely my scholars are going to answer fearlessly. When we talk about tolerance and pluralism, I'll admire two nations. The councils are there. Malaysia and Indonesia are the best example of tolerance and pluralism. You never read any negative news regarding these two countries. It's high in religious tolerance and pluralism. So once again, for Malaysia and Indonesia, we need a good clap for them. So my question is, why misunderstandings occur? misunderstandings occur because we don't understand the other's religion. And by the grace of new media, we have much more misinformation than the information. So even the audience, even we know the Buddhism, we know the Sanatan Dharma, Islam, and the Christianity. But generally, when we talk about the basics of these religion, even the educated people don't know what is the concept of this religion. So I start with few words. What is the concept of God in your religion, frankly speaking? I start with the father. Father, what is the concept of God in your religion? So, can you help me?
So, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to express. So, Christianity believes in a God which is revealed by Jesus, and Christianity focuses on God as a God who's loving, who created whole of human race in his own image and likeness, and therefore there is sacredness in all human beings. So Christianity focuses on a God who was revealed by Jesus, and Jesus revealed a God who's loving. Loving, his nature is to love, his nature is love, and therefore human beings are supposed to live in love. So the whole aspect of Jesus was to love. He lived for love, he died for love, and finally he proposed a God who is love. And I like this concept of God creating us in the image and likeness of him. If God is love, we are all his image and likeness, so therefore we are also love.
Thank you. Definitely the next one is Vanu Sahab. मेरे स्कॉलर्स से मैं कह रहा हूँ जिस ज़बान में आपको कंफर्टेबल होगा उसमें आप बोलिएगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. What is the concept of God in Islam?
बिस्मिल्लाह अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला रसूलिल्लाह. इस्लाम जहाँ तक हम जानते हैं, हम समझते हैं, ईमान या मुसलमान या मोमिन किसे कहते हैं. हमारे यहाँ पर ईमान का ताल्लुक़ जहाँ तक अल्लाह से है, कलीमे के दो जुज़ है. एक तो अल्लाह को अल्लाह मानना, दूसरा मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड, प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद को मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड मानना. एक बेसिक चीज़ है जो हम अल्लाह, ईमान और मुसलमान के साथ में उन चीज़ों को जोड़ते हैं. लेकिन इस्लाम दुनिया में वाहिद ऐसा मज़हब हो सकता है, जितने भी हमारे साथी यहाँ पर बैठे हैं वो इस चीज़ को बहुत बारीकी के साथ समझ सकते हैं कि हमको ये पढ़ाया जाता है कि आमनतु बिल्लाहि व मलाइकतिही व कुतुबिही व रुसुलिही वल यौमिल आखिरी. 7 चीज़ों को मानने का नाम इस्लाम है. सबसे पहले अल्लाह पर ईमान, कि अल्लाह पर यकीन, कि हम अल्लाह को मानते हैं. उसके बाद जितने अल्लाह के फरिश्ते हैं, जितने एंजल्स हैं, ये बहुत ढकी छुपी बात है जिस पे चर्चा नहीं होती, बातचीत नहीं होती. जितने एंजल्स हैं, जितने फरिश्ते हैं, उस पर भी ईमान, उस पर भी यकीन. जितनी किताबें हैं, सिर्फ हम समझते हैं कि मुसलमान सिर्फ कुरान को मानता है, ऐसा नहीं है. मुसलमान कुरान को भी मानता है, मुसलमान तौरेत को भी मानता है, मुसलमान ज़बूर को भी मानता है, मुसलमान इंजील को भी मानता है. और मुसलमान उस वक्त तक मुसलमान नहीं हो सकता कि जब तक जितना वो कुरान को हक़ माने उतना बाइबल को भी हक़ माने, उतना तौरेत को भी हक़ माने, उतना ज़बूर को भी हक़ माने. उसके बाद व रुसूलिही, सारे नबी इंक्लूडिंग जीसस, इंक्लूडिंग मोसेस, आप सुलेमान कहें, सोलेमन कहें, याकूब कहें, जैकब कहें, जो यूसुफ कहें, जोसेफ कहें, जो भी कहें, जितने भी नबी 1,24,000, उसमें से कुछ नबी हमारे पास जिनके हम नाम जानते हैं. इसके अलावा कई हज़ारों में सैकड़ों ऐसे नबी हैं जिनके हम नाम नहीं जानते. कोई मुसलमान उस वक्त तक मुसलमान नहीं हो सकता कि जितना मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को नबी माने उतना जीसस को भी नबी माने, ईसा को भी नबी माने, मूसा को भी नबी माने. ये दिस इज़ अ पार्ट ऑफ ईमान. और भी जितने अल्लाह के नेक बंदे आए हैं जिन्होंने मखलूक को खुदा से जोड़ने का काम किया है, चाहे उनका नाम ज़ाहिर हो चाहे ना हो, ये दिस इज़ अ बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इस्लाम कि इन तमाम लोगों को, तमाम किताबों को, तमाम को मानना और अल्लाह की गाइडेंस में मानना. दिस इज़ कॉल्ड इस्लाम.
Rahul Bodhiji, the concept of God in Buddhism.
Really, first of all, I congratulate the organizers and good evening to all of you. It is very need of the hours. At present moment that we have to understand each other, and whatever United Nations is giving guidance, that also very useful for all of us. And the concept of God in Buddhism, Buddha believe in God, but not only single God. He say there are celestial beings, invisible beings, and different kinds of beings in the universe. Why we need the religion? We need the religion for our happiness. How can we remove the suffering? How can we live happily? And how can we enjoy this human life which we have got? It is the unique that we get the human birth in the universe. There are millions and billions of species or lives entity in the world. But human being is a unique being because he can understand, he can develop compassion, he can understand each other, he can develop the harmony, and he can make the world peaceful, the town peaceful, the city peaceful, and the country also peaceful can be made by human effort. If we don't properly manage or guide the people, if we don't properly understand the universe, so there will be discrimination. But diversity, this is the nature of universe. See in the universe, see in the jungle, see in the valleys and mountains and everywhere, you can see different kinds of trees, different kinds of flowers, different kinds of things everywhere we can find. That diversity is there. So the saying is, how can we unite? How can we make the people unite? Unity in the field of diversity. So that we have to, when we have to maintain the city and peace and harmony, that we are responsible, we human beings are responsible to make our city peaceful and harmonious. If we think that oh, God will come and He will guide us and He will make us to live harmoniously, Buddha says no. You have to understand the nature of human mind. Why these conflicts happen? Why we are quarreling each others? Why the violence take place? Because of misunderstanding. You are not understanding properly, and that's why the violence takes place and disharmony happens there. If you understand, every person needs happiness, peace, and harmony. Everyone wants. See, ask your heart. Ask yourself, what do you want? What our hearts are wanting? We want peace and harmony all the time. And how to maintain it?
These answers will come in the second question.
Yes, thank you.
The question is, what is the concept of God in Sanatan Dharma?
As you know, God is omnipresent. And in a country like India, which is the best example of unity and diversity, it is very hard to explain about God. So let me come in short to explain you in different forms. 4 to 5 lines I will explain in different languages. रब किससे पता पूछे मंजिले जाना, जिसको खबर थी तेरी वो बेखबर मिला। ईश्वर को पहचानना इतना आसान नहीं है। हज़ारों खिज़्र पैदा कर चुकी है नस्ल आदम की, ये सब तस्लीम, लेकिन आदमी अब भी भटकता है। बड़े बड़े संत महापुरुष, गुरु नानक देव जी, कबीर जी, बड़े बड़े फरीद जी, सब आकर चले गए, लेकिन आदमी आज भी भटक ही रहा है। ईश्वर को समझना इतना आसान नहीं है। अब रामायण में भी कहा है रब के बारे में, और पीर और फ़कीरों और सूफियों की ज़बान में भी कहता हूँ, रबी गुंजलदार बुझारत, रबी घोरक धंधा, खोलन लग्या पेच एस दे काफिर हो जाए बंदा। रब को समझना बड़ा कठिन है। बड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड क्वेश्चन आपने किया कि रब क्या है। रब को डिफ़ाइन कोई नहीं कर सकता। हर आदमी अपने रिलीजन के हिसाब से रब गिनता है, लेकिन रब तो एक है, ही इज़ ओमनी प्रेजेंट। और सनातन धर्म में भी कहा है, किसी ने पूछा मुझसे कि रब क्या है, तो रामायण में लिखा है, बिन पग चले सुने बिन काना, कर बिन करम करे विधि नाना, आनंद रहित सकल रस भोगी, बिन बानी बक्ता बड़ जोगी। तो रब एक ऐसी बुझारत है कि जिसके बारे में आप कह नहीं सकते, सिर्फ आपको इतना याद रखना है कि रब है, ओमनी प्रेजेंट है, जर्रे जर्रे में मौजूद है, कण कण में वो विराजमान है। तो उस हिसाब से हमको सभी के अंदर रब देखना है। जब हम सब के अंदर रब देखना शुरू कर देंगे तो समझ लीजिए कि हमने रब को प्राप्त कर लिया। यही रब के डेफिनेशन मेरे हिसाब से।
I started with this because I told that we have a lot of misconception about others' religion and in the basic philosophy of the religion. So what is the concept of God? Let's start with this. I said earlier that I am not going to ask cosmetic questions. So the harsh one, it looked like a harsh one, but it's a harsh question. I am an atheist, for example. I am a Gnostic, non-believer. I am asking this way. My question is to all these religious scholars. I see the religion fights. They fight with another religion and within the religion. So what satisfactory answer you are going to give me that no, this is not the case or this is the wrong case? Yes, it is my wrong interpretation. As an atheist, as a Gnostic, as a non-believer, I say I look like that the religion fights with a different religion and within the religion. How you'll satisfy me that this is not the case? Father, yourself first. The big bouncer to you, I hope.
Every time he's putting a googly on me. Yeah. I would look from the point of view of, if you ask me how do we answer a question like this to an atheist. So the first thing is, you know religion by knowledge, but you're not convinced about it. I know God is love, I know we should live in harmony, but I'm not convinced. So when you see in a cigarette packet, cigarette smoking is injurious to health. I know about it from knowledge. I know I follow the language. But I'm not convinced that cigarette is harmful for me. The day when I'm convinced, I will try my level best to come out of it. So religion, so what we are missing here is, one is the religious aspect. Religion is basically set of rules and regulation, whereas spirituality is much higher. Every human being is spiritual because there is an element of spirit in all of us. But I don't have a difficulty if you say that I'm not a religious, no problem, because you don't follow a set of rules and regulation. So religion is a set of rules and regulations. Spirituality is higher. All human beings are spiritual because the Spirit of God resides in all human beings. That's the reason why a Hindu, when he touches somebody, he does like this. Because he or she believes that there is an element of God in all religion. So one is to know by knowledge, the other thing is to be convinced. If I am convinced, then I start behaving like that. Now, for example, I need to respect all religion, I know about it. The day when I start suspecting, the respect goes. If you start with suspect, there is no respect for the religion. So in my opinion, religion is good because it helps you to become a better human being. But if I'm not convinced that this religion is helping me to become a better human being, religion should help me to become a better human being. If I'm not able to do that, that means something is like. So I only know by knowledge. I'm not convinced. If God is love, I should be convinced. The day I'm convinced, my perspective is not suspect, but I respect you.
Manu sir.
आपकी इस बात को समझने से पहले इस चीज़ को समझना पड़ेगा कि हर दौर में जो है ना, इफ़हाम और तफ़हीम हम उर्दू में कहते हैं, जैसे अंडरस्टैंडिंग और कंपैरिजन, ये दो चीज़ें हैं जो माशरे के अंदर एक दौर से चली आ रही है। और ये इसी चीज़ को लेकर कहीं ना कहीं जो समाज में जो ट्रेंड सेट होते हैं, चाहे वो इंटेलेक्चुअल के ज़रिए से हो, चाहे फ़िलासफ़िकल जो ट्रेंड सेट हो, यही चीज़ उसके अंदर बैलेंस करती है। आप पूछेंगे मज़हब क्यों ज़रूरी है? मज़हब इसलिए ज़रूरी है कि मज़हब जो है ना, आपकी मोरल ज़िंदगी को, अखलाकी ज़िंदगी को, मोरल लाइफ को, या फिर आपकी कोई भी किसी भी किस्म की इंडिविजुअल लाइफ को एक बाउंड्री देता है, एक हद देता है, एक हुदूद देता है। अगर वो बाउंड्रीज़ नहीं होगी तो इंसान में और जानवर में कोई फ़र्क नहीं रहेगा। मिसाल के तौर पे इल्हाद, एथिज़म की आपने बात की। एथिज़म धर्म, कोई भी धर्म हो, धर्म आपको बाउंड्रीज़ देगा कि भाई आपको आपके साथ, आपके भाई के साथ आपके क्या हक़ है, आपके माँ बाप के साथ क्या हक़ है, बीवी बच्चों के साथ क्या हक़ है, आपके पड़ोसी के साथ क्या हक़ है, आपको कारोबार कैसे करना है, आपको छोटी मोटी ज़िंदगी लाइफ में ज़िंदगी में वक्त कैसे गुजारना है, आपके लिए हुदूद है। अगर वो हुदूद नहीं हो, वो बाउंड्रीज़ नहीं हो, तो इंसान जो है बेराह रवि का अपनी मर्ज़ी से जहाँ जैसा अच्छा लगा लिया, जहाँ नहीं लगा वहाँ छोड़ दिया, तो कहीं ना कहीं समाज इनबैलेंस हो जाएगा, सोसाइटी इनबैलेंस हो जाएगी। इसीलिए हमारे यहाँ पे इस्लाम में जो है ना, शरीयत में हमने, अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने थूकने के भी आदाब बताए। थूकने के, कि भाई थूको तो झुक के थूको, हवा के रुख में मत थूको, रास्ते में मत थूको, एक कोने में थूको। अब किसी ने पूछा थूकने के भी आदाब? हाँ, बोले कहीं टॉयलेट जाने के, बैतुल खला जाने के भी आदाब बताए कि सर ढाक के जाओ, बुरे बायां पैर अंदर रख के जाओ, ऐसा बैठो। किसी ने कहा टॉयलेट जाने के भी आदाब, तो कहा नहीं, हमको उसमें भी किसी बेराह रवि का शिकार नहीं रखा, हमको ओपन नहीं रखा कि हम अपनी नफसानी ख्वाहिशात पे, अपनी जो अपने डिज़ायर्स है, गलत डिज़ायर्स है, उसके हम शैतान के कहीं ना कहीं असीर नहीं हो जाए, तो हमको बाउंड्रीज़ दिया है। तो अगर एथिज़म के अंदर जो है ना इंसान की बाउंड्रीज़ ख़त्म हो जाती है, इल्हाद के अंदर इंसान के ऊपर जो है वो नफसानी ख्वाहिशात, उसके कार्नल डिज़ायर्स जो है वो गालिब हो जाते हैं। इसके लिए धर्म और मज़हब का होना ज़रूरी है कि आदमी बंधा रहे और एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे जमा रहे।
ठीक है बोधी जी, as a Nastic I'm asking this, why you people fight with other religion and within the religion?
I think first of all we have to understand what is religion, what is dharma. Dhamma is the truth. Truth can be many kinds of truth, but there is one essential truth also there. And everybody who wants to achieve peace and harmony, he has to follow the truth. And Buddha explained, you have to follow the law of the universe, law of the human body, law of the human mind. Try to understand how my body is working, how my mind is working. And if you don't understand the working or mechanism of your own mind, you are living in the dark. And try to achieve the enlightenment. Enlightenment means just like a light. When sun arises, the darkness disappears. Darkness cannot stay there because sun's light. And sun is very powerful. Darkness cannot stay there. Like that, when the knowledge and the knowledge of Dhamma, Buddha says Dhamma is one, not different. Truth is one, real truth is one. The law of gravitation is one, not two, only one. Sun is one. Sun arises in particular way, in set down in particular way. That is the way is there. Whatever you believe or don't believe, but sun will go on its own way. The gravitation power will go on its own way. The mind will go on its own way. The human body is going on its own way. So Buddha always emphasizes, try to understand yourself. Try to understand your mind. How I became violent. How I develop the impurities or defilements in my mind. Whatever I believe in God, or if I don't believe in God, but if you believe in yourself and try to make your mind always pure and defilement less, try to reduce the defilement of your mind, like anger, hatred, animosity, and craving, and all these things. These are the really create problems in everybody's life. If we understand the nature of that defilements and try to avoid it, that is in our hand. If we try to avoid and try to make our mind pure, ultra pure. It is in our hand. We can make like that. But if we ignore it, and we will say that automatically my mind will be pure, automatically knowledge will come. Knowledge never come automatically. We have to learn. We have to learn the language. We have to learn the every knowledge we have to learn. We have to study, improve ourselves. And that's why there is differences also. The learned people and unlearned people. Two kinds of people we can find there.
Thank you, Babaji. Your take.
There is a word called as fanaticism, staunchness. And in my opinion, this fanaticism is responsible for the conflicts between religion. Not only religion, a fanaticism of a single person can also harm a country, a society. You must be knowing about Adolf Hitler. Hitler's racial superiority led him to the destruction of the Jews. He considered himself to be racially superior to the Jews, and then he massacred crores of Jews. So this fanaticism is leading to the conflict between us. We all, like I am from Sanatan Dharma. If I respect and honor only my religion, that is not the straight path to God. God is one. Unless and until we realize this thing, we will never be able to remove away. We will never be able to bring about peace and harmony in the society. Now, I will speak in Hindi. I have to say a few things. यहाँ राम वालों को इस्लाम से बुआती है, अहले इस्लाम को राम से बुआती है, खल के खिदमत कोई करे कैसे, जहाँ इंसान को इंसान से बुआती है। जब तक हम एक दूसरे के धर्म को नहीं समझेंगे, उसको रिस्पेक्ट नहीं देंगे, तो इस तरह के झगड़े और कहते हैं ना मुल्ला की दौड़ मस्जिद तक, इस्लाम को मानने वाले मस्जिद से आगे बढ़ने को ही तैयार नहीं है। मैं तो कड़क बोलूँगा, मंदिर में ही बैठ के मैं घंटी बजाता था तो इस तरह के प्रोग्राम्स नहीं अटेंड कर पाता, क्योंकि खलके खिदमत सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है। हमको मंदिरों से बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा, मोनेस्ट्रीज से बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा, चर्च से आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा। चर्च तो बहुत आगे बढ़ चुकी है। I consider the Christian community as the builder of the nation. Thousands of missionary schools in our country. The development, progress and advancement that we are observing is just because of the Christian community. अब हमें इस चीज़ को ख्याल करना है। गुरु नानक देव जी के साथ 55 साल मर्दाना रहे भाई मर्दाना, जो मुस्लिम थे। आज बता दीजिए कोई साधु के साथ कोई मुस्लिम कितनी देर तक रह सकता है? अब तो और मामला गड़बड़ हो गया है। अब तो पता नहीं कैसा जहरीला एनवायरनमेंट हो गया है। तो ये सब चीज़ों को हमें समझना पड़ेगा, तभी जो है हम लोग जो है अपने देश में शांति, भाईचारा और प्रेम की पताका लहरा सकते हैं, वरना तो मुश्किल ही है।
The next question is, yes, have the line like that, the smart first. So my question is this, let's come to India, my great nation, India. We have the history of tolerance and pluralism for thousands and thousands of years. But unluckily, from last few decades, the spirit of tolerism and the pluralism is at its low. What can this religious scholar and religion can do to promote or to uphold the tolerance in the human society and the pluralism which society was having earlier in India? What can the religious scholar as a religion can do to bring the both?
Yeah, so we were all discussing, and I suddenly thought about, since we are all having a discussion on religion. So the religion comes from a Latin word religare, means to link people together. Ligare is link. And it comes also from the science word ligaments, which joins two bones together. So religare is to join people together. That's the ultimate purpose of all religion. Now, I feel very good as a Catholic priest to be part of India, because in India, pluralism is at its best. I will still say it's the best. I like all the festivals of India. I can eat something in that festival, I can eat something in the other festival, whether it is the sevaya we eat, whether we have the laddus at Diwali. No other countries in the world is blessed as India, because India is a land of diversity, pluralism, and I think it is also one of the ways to help. So what we could do as people is promote harmony, start from the schools, start from having a dialogue like this. I'm so very happy that the King of Jordan at that time wanted to start this thing, which is so very good that once at least all over the world, 1 week, people are thinking, oh, there is a possibility of harmony. Why are we not doing this? So even just to sit here, is so many things to learn from another religion. Okay, so we start with respect, not with suspect. The moment I suspect, there is no dialogue. Dialogue starts with respect. There is something good in that religion. I think when I leave this place today, I must say that what did I learn from the Hindu sage, or from the Buddhist sage, or from my Muslim brother? If something I have taken, it's a good thing. If I think my religion is superior, it will not work. I have to think what I have taken. I think one of the ways is to promote, number one, is to promote religious harmony in school and places, have a dialogue, have a discussion like this, open forum. Second, leaving aside our religious whole thing on the argument, let's work together because of common thing. There's poverty in India, there is education difficulty. Many people don't get education here. People are living in poverty. If religious heads come together without saying, I'm not promoting my religion, but I'm doing it out of humanity, take causes which will help to bring religion together as well as doing something good for humanity. During the COVID time, nobody bothered which religion anybody belonged. COVID time was a time when everybody thought, this brother, this sister needs help, I need to help. Nobody, because there was no camera at that time. Nobody was recording anything, no politician, nothing. All those who did it out of love for their religion, doing it for humanity. That is the best way to express. That's what I think.
बिल्कुल आपका जो सवाल है, आप इस चीज़ को समझिए, आप अगर चाहते हैं कि नीचे वाले अगर एक हो जाए तो पहले स्टेज वालों को एक होना पड़ेगा। जिस दिन ये स्टेज वाले एक हो गए तो नीचे वाले सब एक हो जाएंगे, और कहीं ना कहीं जो कम्युनल हार्मनी की जो हवा और फ़िज़ा बनी है उसमें कहीं ना कहीं नमी आएगी। बुनियादी चीज़ हम लोगों को एक कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम बनाना होगा जिस पर हमारे इंटेलेक्चुअल्स बात करेंगे, वही स्कूल में वही इदारों में, चाहे वो स्कूल हो चाहे मदरसे हो, उस पर चर्चा होगी और उस पर बात होगी। और ये कुरान में है, इख्तलाफात होंगे, इख्तलाफात डिफरेंसेस होंगे और हमेशा से होंगे, पहले भी थे, अभी भी है और आगे भी होंगे। लेकिन उन डिफरेंसेस के अंदर, उन इख्तलाफात के अंदर जो दीगर मज़ाहिब है उसको किस तरीके से कुरान ने लेकर चलने के लिए कहा है, उसका गाइडेंस भी मौजूद है। कुरान खुद कहता है, कुल या अहलल किताब तआलू इला कलिमतिन सवाइन बैनना व बैनकुम। ए मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम आप फरमा दीजिए, अहले किताब मतलब उस वक्त जो यहूदी थे या नसरानी थे, ईसाई थे, जो यहूदी और ईसाई जो कम्युनिटी थी उनको मुखातब करके, कि उस वक्त वही थे वहाँ पर, कि हो सकता है हमारे और आपके बीच में डिफरेंसेस हो, इख्तलाफात हो, अलग अलग चीज़ हो, मानने का तरीका अलग हो, पढ़ने का तरीका अलग हो, लेकिन कुछ तो चीज़ें होंगी जो हमारे दरमियान कॉमन होगी। चलो पहले हम उस पर इकट्ठे हो जाए, पहले हम उस पर डिस्कस करेंगे, हम उस पर बातचीत करेंगे, हम उसके ऊपर एकजा हो जाएंगे। हम एक होंगे तो नीचे वाले खुद ब खुद एक हो जाएंगे।
ह्यूमन वैल्यूज सबसे पहले।
हाँ, मैं उसी पे आ रहा हूँ, चाहे वो ह्यूमन वैल्यूज़ हो, चाहे एक दूसरे के मज़हब के धर्म का एहतराम हो। जो बेसिक चीज़ है ना, उस पर ज़र्ब करना, उस पर नोक करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, जो आज की इस नफ़रत की बुनियादी वजह है। हम अपने आप को इस तरीके से सही समझते हैं कि दूसरे को हम बिल्कुल 100% गलत समझते हैं, जबकि कुरान का कॉन्सेप्ट ये, वला तसुब्बुल्लज़ीना यदऊना मिन दूनिल्लाह फयसुब्बुल्लाह अदवन बिगैर इल्म, कि तुम किसी के धर्म को, किसी के मज़हब को बुरा भला मत कहो। क्यों? देयर इज़ अ रिएक्शन फॉर एवरी एक्शन। तुम किसी के धर्म पर उंगली उठाओगे, फयसुब्बुल्लाह अदवन बिगैर इल्म, वो अपनी कम इल्मी की वजह से तुम्हारे अल्लाह पर उंगली उठाएगा। टकराव की सूरत होगी, नफ़रत की सूरत होगी, झगड़े की सूरत होगी, जिससे कुरान रोकता है, शरीयत रोकती है, खुदा रसूल रोकता है।
थैंक यू।
Humanity is very important, And harmony is very important for the peace, love. And that's why we have to give respect to each other. There may be difference in the thoughts. Ideology may be different. But the same thing is everybody wants happiness, love, peace and harmony. That's everyone is working for that. Everyone is just thinking on that. How can I become more happy? How can I help others also? Because when you help others, try to understand others and respect everyone, each others, and that will create the harmony and peace. Don't blame, don't criticize others. Everybody is thinking and walking on his own mind. Every person is his mind made. And that's why I am also my mind made. How my mind is thinking, how I am thinking, and whatever I am thinking, I am just acting according to that, my thoughts and my ideas. So, not my thinking only is the true or the absolute, but thinking of other persons also, you have to respect. See, other persons also thinking in different ways. Ideas may be different, thoughts may be different, but our goal, our aim is to live peacefully, harmoniously, and develop love, fraternity, equality, and live freely, freedom. That is very important in the society. And that will stop the wars and conflicts happens because of our polluted mind. That makes us to fight. But if we try to make our mind peaceful and pure and try to just decrease the defilements of our minds, if I decrease defilement my mind and develop the love and compassion towards each other, that will bring the peace and harmony forever.
Thank you, Bodhiji. Babaji.
As far as I'm concerned, I believe, my firm belief is humanity is the biggest religion and love is the biggest language, which even a small animal like a dog or a cat can understand. If you love a pet, it will respond. And humanity, in my opinion, is the biggest religion. What is the problem? I'll give you an instance from Akal Takht, that is in Amritsar. Akal Takht is a building that surrounds the Golden Temple, and it is supposed to be the political center of Punjab. The politics of Punjab starts from Akal Takht. And if you see that Akal Takht, it is made in such a way that you stand in any corner of Akal Takht, any room of Akal Takht, you will be able to see the Golden Temple from there. But when you stand in the Golden Temple, you will not see a part of Akal Takht. This shows that when you are following religion, when you are following religions, you should not be politically influenced. But when you are doing politics, you should never forget religion. This is the main reason why today all the politics is based on religion. Whatever things they are practicing, they politicize it. So this is not the right way. So one thing that we have to realize, that we have to come out of the churches, we have to come out of the monasteries, we have to come out of the mosques. India, I have not seen any other country in the world like India. You see the morning of India, the dawn of India. It starts with the muezzins in the mosques. The Shankhnad, the temple bells in the temples. The mass prayers in the churches. And similarly, the prayers in the gurdwaras. So there is no other country like India. The diversified climate, The nature, just imagine. There are countries which are full of deserts, which are full of mountains, which are full of forests, which are full of water. But then in India, you have coastal plains, you have mountains, you have deserts, you have forests, everything. So the best thing is culture in India is the beauty of our country is its culture, its unity in diversity. And I am a firm believer that India, there is no other country like India where people from so many religions reside in peace and harmony.
The last question. The today's youth in India too are influenced with the capitalism and the consumerism. पैसा कमाना है और जिंदगी गुजारनी है. And it has been influenced by the media, which has communalized the youth from all caste and all community and from all religion. Being a religious scholar, how will you handle this kind of a youth, which is the hope for the nation, if they get polluted this way, that they become communal, non-tolerant, they don't believe in pluralism, so the nation will not survive the dream which we have seen. So how to deal with such kind of a youth as a religious scholar or the leader or the religious leaders have the role to play for the youth especially?
So currently, I personally believe there are these two big dangers in the world that the world is facing now. Two big dangers. One is natural stupidity and the other one is artificial intelligence. Both are very dangerous for our world today. Youth are more hooked to the second part. Sometimes they do stupid things, but mostly it's the other part. They're highly intellectual. They've gone way beyond the way the world is. And if you're not able to harmonize their energy in the right source, things may go out of hand. First thing, what is the role of religious leaders? I feel is good example. Sometimes you appreciate what your parents have done because of the good example that they give. So I also feel one of the ways for the youth to harmonize this thing is give good example of religion. Like you give good example of leaders who are at some stage your own religious leader. If they give a good example, probably that will help the youth to focus something and to believe that religion does play an important part in their life. I also feel that social media can become a source of two ways. One is it can become a cause of problem for all religion because fake news are going on. You create videos and other things which can be dangerous for society. I think there should be some way of discouraging these things. Sometimes a country is not also bothered about how to help the youth because the whole idea is invest money on these things because final thing of the business people is money, but they are not looking that they are going to damage children in the future. So some things there should be restriction from the government not to. Like I like when Steve Jobs started his whole thing of iPad and iPhone and other thing. He told very clearly that his children will not use because he knew the dangers of those things. Bill Gates in his house said not more than 45 minutes internet will be accessed. Discipline is there, but that discipline has to be in a right way to make them understand, rather than imposing something, then they go and find out through other sources. But there is a method, I think, no time for children, no time for youth. We are in our own world. There is nobody to guide them, so they guide themselves what they think is the best. So they have media, they have the best of best resources now. And I think sometime this can go haywire. And therefore, sometime I feel they have to be told. I like Jordan Peterson, who's a Canadian psychologist, one of the most followed. The number of youth follow him a lot. And I like he as a psychologist also said, the 10 commandments are commandments, not guidelines. They're commandments. You need to follow. It's not a guideline. If it is guidelines, you do what you want. But it is a 10 commandment. Commandment means you follow for your good life. So it is to bring those sort of discipline, and when religious people have influence on them, they can actually do it. Because if religion can tell them to do harm to society, religion can also tell them not to do harm in society. I think that's one of the ways we can do is good example, leading them the right way and the right direction.
मैं क्वेश्चन दोबारा दोहरा दूं कि अभी का मीडिया हमारे नौजवानों को बिल्कुल कम्युनलाइज कर रहा है, उसमें टॉलरेंस ख़त्म हो गया है, साथ में रहने का जो मिजाज है वो भी कम से कम होता जा रहा है। दूसरा साथ में एक चीज़ और जिस नौजवान से जुड़ गई है कि वो अय्याशी पसंद हो गया है, अपनी ज़िंदगी, अपना पैसा, अपनी कमाई, वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ के लिए भी तैयार नहीं है। तो ये दो बीमारियों को कैसे कम किया जाए, ख़त्म किया जा सकता है?
सईद भाई, ये मसला सिर्फ़ और सिर्फ यूथ का नहीं है, यूथ का तो है ही है, उससे दो राय बिल्कुल भी नहीं है, लेकिन मैं समझता हूँ इस देश का इंटेलेक्चुअल तबका भी कहीं ना कहीं इस रंग में रंगा है, और हम जिस तरफ जा रहे हैं उसमें सबसे बड़ी कमी जो है वो डायलॉग्स की कमी है। हमारे दरमियान जो बातचीत जो एक खलीज बढ़ते जा रही है, डायलॉग्स नहीं हो रहे हैं, और इस्लाम में डायलॉग्स का एक अलग ही मकाम है। मैं एक मिसाल देता हूँ, अब आखिरी सवाल है इसके लिए मैं मिसाल के बाद ख़त्म करता हूँ। एक शख्स आया अल्लाह के नबी के दौर में, और मस्जिद नबवी में एक बदू आके, एक देहाती आके खड़े रहकर पेशाब करने लगा। अब आपको कट्टू उसको आज के दौर में सोचे कि एक शख्स आया, एराबी, बदू, देहाती, और आके मस्जिद नबवी में खड़े रहकर पेशाब करने लगा। अब सहाबा दौड़े उसको मारने के लिए। अल्लाह के नबी ने सबको रोका कि कोई नहीं रोकेगा, उसको कंप्लीट कर लेने दो, उसका अपना पेशाब जो रोकना नहीं है उसको पूरा कर लेने दो। अब आप सोचे कि आज के दौर में अगर कोई मस्जिद में आकर ऐसी हरकत करे या कोई मंदिर में आकर ऐसी हरकत करे, अच्छा जब उसने पेशाब पूरा कर लिया तो उससे नहीं कहा कि भाई तूने गंदगी की, अब तू साफ़ करेगा, बल्कि दूसरे से कहा कि बाल्टी भर के लाओ, पानी वहाँ पानी भाओ, और उसको डायलॉग्स के लिए बुलाया, उसको बातचीत के लिए बुलाया, उसको समझाया कि कोई तेरे घर में आए और खड़े रह के पेशाब करे, तुझे अच्छा लगेगा? कोई गलत आदमी कोई गलत हरकत करे तेरे घर में आके, तू पसंद करेगा? उसने कहा नहीं पसंद करूँगा, ये हमारी मस्जिद है, अल्लाह का घर है, हम यहाँ इबादत करते हैं। मतलब डायलॉग्स कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है। आज हमारा जो मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग की वजह है ना, छोटा छोटा लफ्ज़ बन जाता है, हमको नहीं पता, हम कभी चर्चा ही नहीं करते। मिसाल के तौर पे लफ्ज़ काफिर, मिसाल दे रहा हूँ, वैसे 10 मिसाल मैं दे सकता हूँ। हमारे दिमाग में, ख़ास तौर पे हमारे जो हिंदू भाई है, हमारे जो अदर कम्युनिटी के भाई है, उनके दिमाग में ये है कि काफिर लफ्ज़ है ना, ये गाली है, ये मुसलमान हमको गाली देता है, बल्कि कुरान में भी है कुल या अय्युहल काफिरून। अब काफिर क्या है? मोमिन और काफिर। मोमिन जिसको कहते हैं कि जो ईमान लाया, काफिर जिसने इनकार किया, जो इनकार करता है। इट्स जस्ट अ वर्ड, जैसे मुसलमान, हिंदू और मुसलमान, यहूदी और ईसाई। लेकिन एक मिसकंसेप्शन की वजह से, डायलॉग्स के ना होने की वजह से अंडरस्टैंडिंग इतनी बढ़ जाती है कि एक छोटा सा वर्ड बोले ये तो काफिर है, हमको काफिर बोलना, बल्कि एक सिर्फ वर्ड है कि भाई मोमिन जो खुदा को मानता है, जो खुदा पे ईमान लाया, और जो इनकार करने वाला है। एक आखिरी आयत, मैं आखिरी चीज़ है जो बात ख़त्म कर दूँ, जो हाइट ऑफ द सेक्युलरिज्म आपका है ना, जो कुरान ने सिखलाया, जो एंड है, लकुम दीनुकुम वलिय दीन, हमारा दीन हमारे लिए, आपका दीन आपके लिए। मैं थोड़ा सा सख्त होकर इसमें आगे बढ़ के बोलूँगा। हमारे यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा कंसेप्शन ये होता है कि भाई सर्वधर्म समभाव, तो अब क्या बोले, अब रमज़ान आया ना तो सब टोपी पहन के आएंगे, बैठेंगे, इफ्तारी करेंगे, या अगर कोई दूसरे धर्म का कोई त्यौहार आया तो सब जाएंगे और टीका लगाएंगे और पूजा करेंगे। ये हमारा कॉन्सेप्ट है ही नहीं। हमारा कॉन्सेप्ट कुरान ने सिखलाया कि हमारा दीन हमारे लिए, आपका दीन आपके लिए। हम अपने दीन पर पूरे ईमान के साथ, पूरे यकीन के साथ, पूरे वक़ार के साथ, पूरे इत्मीनान के साथ चलेंगे। आप अपने धर्म पर पूरे ईमान, यकीन, वक़ार के साथ चलो, चलने देंगे ना। हम आपकी रिस्पेक्ट करेंगे, आप हमारी रिस्पेक्ट करो।
यस, दिस इज टॉलरेंस एंड दिस इज प्लूरलिज्म। मोदी जी, नए यूथ को कैसे हम इनटॉलरेंट होने से बचाएं?
As today, it is the need to teach the moral dhamma, morality. That is lacking, we are lacking. The morality is very important in everybody's life. In our family life also, the morality is important. In our social life and everywhere, it's very important. And the Dharma Guru has got a lot of responsibility because they are teachers of Dhamma, leading the community, advising the people, and that's why they should understand the each others, understand the other dharma also, other teachings also. And how can we develop the harmony, diversity, how can we make the unity in diversity? So that is the real guidelines for us. And diversity always will be there. The natures of human beings are different, always will be there. We have to understand and try to specify it and serve the humanity. The service to the humanity is very important. How can I serve the people, serve my country, serve my family, serve the people? Service to the, pay back to the society is very important. And that you can get by developing the compassion, kindness in your own mind. And then you can become a really servants to the society, servants of the people. And that will make our society harmonious, peaceful. And we have to effort. Without effort, it will not happen. So it is very needed. So Buddha said one word, Sachitta Pariyodapanang etang buddhanusasanang kusalasa upasampada Sachitta Pariyodapanang. Ki try to purify your mind all the time and make always the good effort to help others, minimize the suffering of your life and other life also. How can we minimize? The suffering always is there. He taught 4 noble truths. So what 4 noble truths? That means one truth is there is suffering in everybody's life. Nobody can avoid it. And there is cause of the suffering, that without cause nothing happens. And how to remove that cause and how to become free from disease or free from suffering. So that way the Buddha showed like that. What suffering? Every human being has to go through 4 stages of life. Whatever we believe, what 4 stages of life means, sometimes whatever desires comes and if we not fulfill, we get unhappy. If contrary to our desires something happen, we become unhappy. That is one thing. Then the craving, attachment that make us unhappy. Whatever we can earn, we can achieve, how many things are there in our life. But if my mind is not satisfied, not fulfilled with that, again I crave for something, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. There is no end of greed. So that's why you understand the nature of greed and try to just minimize it. And help others also. Let everyone live peacefully and happily. How can I contribute for that? That is the thing. That's why Buddha's word is Sabba papassa akaranam kusalasa upasampada sachitta pariyodapanam etang buddhanusasanam. Sabba papassa akaranam. Just be away, aloof from the evil doings, evil thoughts, and evil actions. Be aloof. Sachitta pariyodapanam. Kusalasa. Kusal means the good things. Always try to do the good things. Good thing. Whatever good, you can understand what is good and bad. Nobody should tell you. Every human being has got such kinds of intellectuality that he can understand what is good and what is bad. So try to aloof from the evil things. Do always good thing and make your mind free from defilements and pure, that your life will become peaceful. And again, everyone has to go through oldness. The old age and oldness is suffering. Every person has to go. The birth also suffering, Buddha said. Buddha's teaching is, oldness is suffering. Disease is suffering. And when human body is there, everybody has to go through that diseases. This disease, this illness, that illness, that illness. Because that is the nature of human body. It will come. We cannot be free from that. Illness. Illness is the nature of our body. We cannot be free from. And death will come. Death also gives suffering. But how can you come out from the death? How can you overcome the death and live all the time happily and freely? That teaching, the Buddha's teaching is more important.
Thank you, sir.
That is for
Thank you. Babaji, your thoughts, last thoughts?
Frankly speaking, before blaming the youth, we should blame ourselves. It is our responsibility to modify the youth. If you are not aware of history, go through history. Read the story of Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, Ashfaqullah. All these were religious people. Their love for their religion let them practice their love for their motherland. It is not possible that any other person, now the youth today, is running behind easy money, trying to become a multimillionaire within a short span. So what is the reason for that? There was a time when we spoke about generation gap. But today, what is going on? There are 4 people in a family, and all 4 of them are busy on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and other things. Now there is no generation gap, my dear. Today, what is going on is called as a communication gap. Nobody is ready to talk to each other. The same thing we have to follow. We have to go to these youths. We should not wait for them to come to the churches, to the temples, to the monasteries, to the gurdwaras. We have to approach them and we have to teach them, because the youth is the main power of the country. It is not in our hands to revolutionize a thing. Only the youths can do it. So we cannot blame the youths completely for this thing. We are supposed to be the torch bearers, the pioneers. And if we say, no, our job is confined only up to the temples, up to the monasteries, up to the church, let the youth go wherever he wants, then we are to be blamed. We cannot blame the youth. So in my opinion, unless and until this communication gap is eradicated, nothing will be yielded. We will not be able to produce anything. If you constantly think about your religion, ki my religion says this thing, I'm not going to go out of the mosque, I'm not going to go out of the temple, I'm not going to go out of the monastery, then you will not produce anything. The youth cannot be blamed. We have to blame ourselves. We have a very major responsibility for bringing about a transformation in the society. And the transformation can be brought about only when the youths change. We have to get them back to the mosque, to the temple, to the churches, to the monasteries, and then only we can consider them to become revolutionaries. That's all.
To conclude this debate, the conclusion is that for tolerance and pluralism, still religion and religious leaders have the hope. But this we have a scope. So the responsibility of religious leader and the religion itself is too big. And with all this debate, we are hopeful. If you all perform, if you all go into the field, if you work, as the Babaji was saying that, definitely things are going to change. And My India, which is a symbol of tolerance and pluralism, will stand once again in the same position. It is known to everyone. Thank you, everybody. As a student, you have enlightened me and the audience. Lot of applause for all these 3 scholars. Thank you very much.